Ever since its inception in the late 1970s, tons and tons of alternative/indie albums have been released, some being absolute gorgeous pieces of music history, while others are absolutely god-awful. But today, we're looking at an album that leans more towards the stunning, adventurous side of the indie music spectrum. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, where today I'm starting a mini-series here called Album Review, reviewing albums that I think are great but nobody else does. In today's episode, I'll be reviewing Death of a Bachelor by Panic! At the Disco. Let's get reviewing. So for those who are unaware, Death of a Bachelor is Panic! At the Disco's 5th studio album, released on January 15th, 2016, and was met with pretty high praise from music critics. I mean, look at all these review scores. And let's not forget to mention, it skyrocketed to number 1 on the Billboard 200 the day it debuted. That's an impressive feat. The New York Times commented on the first track of the album, stating that Urie evokes both the flamboyant swagger of Queen and the mechanized gleam of Daft Punk. Evan Lucy from Alternative Press states, for all of its precocious, borderline bratty moments, Death of a Bachelor is a more remarkably nuanced affair. It's hard not to break out in goosebumps and marvel at the moving songwriting. Couldn't have said it better myself, Evan. Alright, enough about the reviews from critics. Let's see why I think this album is great. So I've boiled this down into 3 main reasons. Reason 1 is that there's a song for everyone to enjoy. For example, the whole album takes heavy influence from Frank Sinatra, and you can definitely hear it in songs like the title track Death of a Bachelor.
Do I look lonely? I see the shadows on my face.
An Impossible Year.
There's no sunshine this impossible year.
If you're a fan of heavy rock, then songs like Victorious will almost certainly be your favorite.
Double disco queen, headed to the guillotine. Skin as cool as Steve McQueen. Let me be a killer king.
If you're a fan of musical theater, then songs like Crazy Equals Genius and The Good, the Bad, and the Dirty will surely be on your list of favorites, due to the usage of horns and other orchestral instruments. I can keep going, but I'm pretty sure you get the point by now. The album is so flexible with its sound, because it's constantly changing gears every song and leaves you wondering what's going to come next. The second reason for what makes this album great is that, unlike the albums that came before it, it tells a compelling story that makes it more interesting to listen to, at least for the first 5 songs. For example, the story that makes up the first 5 songs of this album starts off with Victorious, and how Brendon and his gang get a little rowdy and eventually ending up drunk while celebrating something. Then the next song, Don't Threaten Me with a Good Time, continues the story by detailing waking up from a night full of drinking. Then, in Hallelujah, it shows Brendon confessing about something, particularly the events in the previous song. The next couple songs are my own headcanon, by the way. I'm not sure if any of this is factual or not, but here we go anyways. Prepare yourselves, because this is about to get really weird. So the next song after Hallelujah is Emperor's New Clothes, where, in my headcanon, we see Brendon being cast down to the pits of the nether after confessing his sins.
"12 seconds later."
It's weird, I know. Then the next song, the title track, Death of a Bachelor, in my headcanon, shows Brendon, presumably escaping the nether, being in some limbo area between the 2 afterlife spaces, telling stories to people who have just recently died.
Several long days later.
sort of like Death Parade, except the only difference being that in Death Parade, they play games to decide where the deceased souls go. In this headcanon does not. It only shows the deceased souls kind of staying in the limbo space instead of going to either place. Weird side tangent aside, the rest of the album just falls apart from the storyline that I've created, and the rest of the songs don't really have much to do with each other in terms of a seeming storyline. Which brings me to my third and final point. This album is really freaking catchy. I listen to this album constantly, which might not really help with this point, but I don't care. On any good day, I'll just be sitting somewhere, minding my own business. Then out of nowhere, I start to sing a part of the album, whether that be the bridge in Don't Threaten Me With a Good Time,
I'm a scholar and a gentleman, and I usually don't fall when I try to stand.
the chorus for The Good, the Bad, and the Dirty,
If you wanna start a fight, you better throw the first punch, make it a good one.
Hallelujah,
All you sinners stand up, sing hallelujah.
and a bunch of other songs. I find that usually either the chorus or the bridge of songs on the album tend to be the more catchier ones. I even asked a few people that I know, in your opinion, what do you think makes this album good? And they said either the songs are catchy or they're chaotic. Take your pick. Although, probably my only gripe about this album is the placement of the songs. I mean, the title track is literally halfway through the album, for crying out loud. It would make so much more sense if it was put as the first track, and Victorious gives off middle of the album vibes anyway. So I don't know why he did this. The placement just doesn't work here. And I don't know why I'm getting so worked up about placement of songs on an alternative slash indie album that came out 8 years ago, and I'm probably the only person who ever thinks about this. Anyways, thanks for tuning in to the first episode of Album Review, reviewing albums that I think are great but nobody else does. In next week's episode, I'll be covering the... Ladies and gentlemen, due to circumstances beyond our control, we are unable to continue our broadcast of... We shall now continue with... Hey everyone, David here. If you made it this far into the video, thank you so much for watching, because this video took way longer than it honestly needed to. But before you click off, I just want to say a few words. Okay, so I just want to give a huge thank you to Imagine Pilots of the Bastille Boy for kind of inspiring the humor that I used in my video, because it's similar to theirs. Anyways, go check them out. The channel link will be in the description below. They're really funny. They are incredibly underrated, and they're just a really great channel, so I would go check that out. The next kind of thank you I want to give is to my friend Thomas, who made the intro bit, and I will leave links to his TikTok account and to his YouTube channel down in the description, so you can go check it out. And the last thank you that I want to give is to my other friends for letting me use their faces in the video. You know, I think it's really great that I have friends who are willing to help me out on a big project like this. But other than that, I have no other words to say except enjoy some bloopers, and I'll see you in the next video. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Oh my god. The story that makes up the first 5 songs of this album starts with Victorious. Weird side tangent, more interesting to listen to, at least for the first five songs. For example, the story that makes up the first 5 songs of the album. The second album for what?